An empty nester doesn't sit well with me for 3 reasons. One is, how's the nest empty if I'm still in it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't work for me as a mom, as a feminist. Like, I'm still here. Hello.
Yeah.
It's not empty. And then second is, I don't know what happens for you, but when I think about like empty nest, I picture some sort of shriveled up, dried out, maybe a leftover feather here and there kind of place. And that's simply not how I want to picture my home.
Right.
I want my
Yeah.
home to be a connected, loving, warm place, regardless of how many kids live in my house or not.
Yeah.
And then thirdly, empty nest really focus on when your last kid has left. And I'm saying the Birdy Launcher process, and to become a successful Birdy Launcher, you start much, much sooner. And most parents don't do this. And this is where we can get into trouble. So this starts whether you're launching your first, your last, or your only. And ideally, we start already when they're in high school, maybe even junior year, because there's a lot that comes with this major life transition.
Welcome to Three Little Fishes. We're three sisters who grew up in the Midwest together, but have since spread across the country. I live in Los Angeles.
I'm in Nashville.
And I live in Philadelphia. We are all married with children, have all had careers, but now we stay at home with our families.
Join us as we share secrets and stories about being women, wives, and mothers.
We welcome you to laugh along, learn something new, reach out, and join our conversation.
So let's jump in.
What's up, fishes?
What's up, fishes? How are you guys?
Doing great.
All right, what's great?
Well, I don't know if anybody is watching this podcast, but I'm not in my house. I'm at our oldest place. I'm at her apartment. We're packing her up. It's the end of the year for her at Virginia Tech. So I'm at Blacksburg, Virginia for the next couple of days. We're actually doing something super fun. Like packing's not super fun, but we're going to go see Metallica on.
Oh.
So they play Enter Sandman at Lane Stadium when the football team comes in. And so the first time ever Metallica is coming and they're playing at Lane Stadium. So Rich is flying in tomorrow. Sarah and Rich and I are going to go to Lane Stadium and listen to Metallica. I'm not like a huge Metallica fan, but I feel like this is like one of those things that you have to go to. So we're going to tailgate.
For sure.
It's going to be a whole thing. We actually saw a Metallica pop-up store in downtown Blacksburg this morning when we were running some errands. So it should be really fun. So today, Sarah and I are being very vigilant. We're getting her all packed up and organized for her next apartment, and then we're going to Metallica.
I know. I do think that's funny. I think it'll be fun. But if I think of Metallica and you,
No.
they do not go together. So I love this. I love this for you, and I'm sure it'll be great.
I'll let
The
you know.
tailgating will be good.
I know.
That
I'm
will be
looking
fun.
forward to it. I mean, I think it's going to be fun. They were in Nashville Saturday night, and I went to our year-end hockey party on Sunday, and the coach went, and he's like, it is an incredible show. He's like, my legs are tired from all the jumping up and down that I did. And I was like, oh. He goes, so wear comfortable shoes. So I brought my sneakers. I'm ready. We're going to do it. It's going to be great.
All right.
Awesome.
Kathy, what about you? What's happening there?
So I feel like my senior is never home right now. I haven't even talked to him. Like we've got so much going on, and we just had senior day for lacrosse over the weekend, which just they did an incredible job. Pulled at my heartstrings.
It's a tear-jerking experience, isn't it? You're just like, stop. Yeah.
They do such a nice job. They had a really cool banner of him for lacrosse, and they gave us flowers, had this whole spread of food and everything for the kids. So it was fun. So we're like definitely gearing up for Party Town. Yeah. And then I started like getting stressed because the party is going to be at our house, the graduation party. So I decided, I thought it was a good idea we paint our patio furniture, which has turned out to be a lot of work. And I think my husband was right. I'm crazy that I decided that I could handle this. So
Well, I'm looking forward to Trevor's party. We have Jack's big party on this Saturday. It's not at our house, but our garage is full of things, like, because we're in charge of drinks. So all the drinks are in my garage right now, and the tables and all this stuff, because it's just a couple houses down. It's a lot of work. But
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
excited about it. I think, Jack's party will be fun. I can't wait to get
Oh,
to
it's so fun.
Pennsylvania and see Trevor graduate and celebrate with you ladies. So
Yeah,
I
I'm
think it,
excited.
It will be fun. And speaking of your kids getting ready to go to college, we have a special guest today
We do.
joining us, Hanna Bankier, and she is founder of Birdy Launcher.
Mhm.
And she is a life coach. She gives seminars helping families and moms get ready to launch their kids out into the world. So I feel like this is perfect for what you guys
Perfect.
all have going on in your life.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to have her on today.
Yeah, we're excited to hear what she has to say.
So before we get into it, I just want to remind everybody to please like, subscribe, and invite your favorite fishes to jump into our conversation. All right, y'all, let's jump in.
Today, we have a very special guest. Hanna Bankier is the founder of Birdy Launcher. Welcome, Hanna, to Three Little Fishes.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Hanna is like a life coach, parent coach, speaker, seminar giver to all things launching your kids off into the world, whether that be a job or college or whatever that is. So she kind of just helps parents sort of transition, and also the children. It's a family process, right? So, Hanna, tell us a little bit about Birdy Launcher and sort of like what you do for families.
Yeah, let me start off by explaining the term Birdy Launcher. It's a pretty new concept. Most of us have heard of empty nester, and that term doesn't sit well with me for a few reasons.
Okay.
So I really believe that words shape our experience. How we name things, how we label things, it's just how we then experience them. And empty nester doesn't sit well with me for three reasons. One is, how's the nest empty if I'm still in it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't work for me as a mom, as a feminist. Like, I'm still here. Hello.
Yeah.
It's not empty. And then second is, I don't know what happens for you, but when I think about like empty nest, I picture some sort of shriveled up, dried out, maybe a leftover feather here and there kind of place. And that's simply not how I want to picture my home.
Right.
I want my
Yeah.
home to be a connected, loving, warm place, regardless of how many kids live in my house or not.
Yeah.
And then thirdly, empty nest really focus on when your last kid has left. And I'm saying the Birdy Launcher process, and to become a successful Birdy Launcher, you start much, much sooner. And most parents don't do this. And this is where we can get into trouble. So this starts whether you're launching your first, your last, or your only. And ideally, we start already when they're in high school, maybe even junior year, because there's a lot that comes with this major life transition.
Yeah.
So with that is the concept of Birdy Launcher, right? And in that, we are not only as mamas, we're launching our kids into this big bright world, but we're also get the opportunity to launch us. So what are those next chapters of our lives going to look and feel like? That's like the excitement. And then in this process, we're in the soup of emotion, right? There's this pride and joy, like, score, we did it,
Yeah.
our kids have survived and we did it.
Yeah.
And we clothed them and we fed them and we nurtured them and we poured our hearts into them. And then it's, I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to know what's going on. So there's this worry, because moms, we worry. That's what we do. And then there's this tremendous sense of loss.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have my kid down the hall anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get to hug them or see them or check in on their day the way that we can when they are under our same roof or in our same nest. So all of these transitions really is major, and we don't really do that well in this culture. We kind of skip over it. So that is part of the concept. So I'm happy to dive into more how I support mamas and the kids in this process.
Well, that's
Yeah,
exciting.
I like what you're saying. I have my oldest is a sophomore in college now, and I felt that like an immense loss when he went away. And I wasn't
Mm.
expecting it, even though I was preparing myself and having self talks about he's getting ready to go. But when it actually happened, I just felt very sad. And I have a second one getting ready to graduate this year. And I hope I don't feel that
Mm.
same feeling again because it was not a good feeling.
Well, I'm sorry to say and to break it to you, but you're probably gonna feel it times 100.
Oh,
Oh,
So grief, regardless of what it is, the loss that we're grieving, right? Grief and sense of loss is because it matters, because this relationship matters to you, because it's important, because it is sort of love that doesn't have a place to go is
right.
grief. So, of course, you're grieving that your oldest is leaving. It is a monumentous, like major life transition. And we're not preparing because we kind of think it's just how it is and we should just pull ourselves with the bootstraps and jog on and do more things and like suppress the grief. We're not in a culture that does grief well, particularly. So one way to prepare is to be aware, and now you are with the second one. It's coming, and then when the grief is coming, and it will pop up in all sorts of funny ways, right? Unexpected, whenever, just let your feelings be there. Most of us, we suppress it and we're like putting on a brave face and we're not going to let our children know that we're going to miss them. Or it feels like somebody cut off a limb and now a part of my body doesn't live in my house anymore. That's at least how I felt when my oldest left, and I was like, so how do we prepare? I think we prepare by being aware that it's coming. We prepare by having conversations with our kids, and that's a way to lessen our worry. We prepare by having the conversations if we're partnered, with our partners, with other family members that are under our same roof. We prepare by showing up and not going at it alone, which is a mistake that most moms are making. Is just, again, we're just going to do it and we're going at it alone, and we are herd animals. We're not supposed to do things alone. We need our tribes, we need our family, we need our village to show up. And then think about, most of us are of the age that we have experienced a tremendous amount of grief and loss in other areas of our lives. So what did I need then to take care of me, to metabolize those feelings? And then the trick is obviously to not get stuck in the grief, right? We need to let it feel our feelings to the extent that they're there. Otherwise, they are going to come out sideways and we might just, get a little nippy here and there, or like, so moving through it so we get to this next phase of the Birdy Launcher. My framework is really these three different pieces where we start with the grief, we go into the relief, because there's also most likely a thing or two that you won't miss when they leave.
Right.
There might be, socks on the floor, some shitty attitude, some slamming doors, like I need you, I don't need you kind of.
Yeah.
Because the teenagers' brains, so these emerging adults' brains, are not fully formed yet, and they are going
Right.
through their transition. How do I dare to leave? I want to stay. I'm ready to leave. What is going on, right? They also fluctuate, and you get to be the airbag for all of their emotions and their expressions.
Right.
So sitting with that and just like naming, what are the things I'm not actually going to miss? No more lunch boxes, no more 6 a.m. right, getting up because there's a team meet somewhere in far away, or I can't go fall asleep because I haven't come home yet, because I haven't heard that key turn. So my circadian rhythm is now all out of whack and I'm not getting enough sleep because they're not going to bed when I'm going to bed. Like all those things, and sitting with it, and then watch out for this little guilt thing that sometimes pop up and say, you're not, as a mom, you're not supposed to feel this way. You're not supposed to feel relief. You're not supposed to. So we have been very socialized in our culture to feel guilt when it's misdirected and misappropriate. And then we move into the joy. What are all these things that are now available to you when you're not bogged down with the mental load and the hands-on parenting? And how do you want to live and show up for your next few decades of life? But to your point, Kathy, this grief, it's real.
Yeah.
And what we know about grief is that whenever we grieve again, if you lose one parent and then you lose your second parent, the grief from the first parent comes back and makes the grief the second time around even more.
Yeah.
So, yes.
What I was sort of surprised by was my oldest two were very, very ready to go to school. But once they got there, they really needed some emotional support that I was sort of like surprised by for some reason. Like they're so independent and they were so happy. And I was very surprised by the emotional toll it kind of took on me because they called a lot and needed like lifting up in a way that I didn't anticipate. Talk to me a little bit about what you say for at Birdy Launcher about preparing the child for those unexpected feelings that they may have when they get away from the family
Of
unit.
course. This is so interesting. I was talking to somebody the other day, a dad, and he was like, well, once they move, my parenting is kind of done. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
College does not parent.
Yeah.
So this idea that we are done, we're not done. It's going to have a different flavor. It's going to have a different, texture to it. But the parenting part, especially when they go out and they, for the first time, most likely in a very new environment, and there's a lot of things for them to get accustomed to and to figure out. They're no longer living at home. Food is going to be different. They probably have a roommate, 2 or 3. And so there's a lot of that interpersonal relationship building that needs to happen. They're on their own, figuring out classes and getting to where they need to be on time. It is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these things, of course, we can help them prep while they're still in your house. I stopped making dental appointments for my kids. So I was like, no, we're going to have to transfer some of these adulting for you to do while you're still in the home. So it's not everything at once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, do you know how to cook? What about your laundry?
Mm-hmm.
When my oldest went away, I'm in California, he's in Massachusetts. And 6 weeks in his freshman year, we are on the phone chatting away, and he's like, Mom, there's this kid on my floor and he hasn't done laundry yet. I'm like, ooh, 6 weeks in. Yeah, and he's an athlete. And I'm like, So you can just imagine what his dorm room was like.
Yeah.
And so my kid was like, yay, I'm not rooming with him because my
Yeah.
room might actually smell a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, what, you see it. And now what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I think I have to teach him how to do laundry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what he did, right? So he took this other kid who hadn't, nobody taught him how to do laundry. So there's no expectation. Like, he hasn't failed. He hasn't done anything wrong. He just doesn't know how.
Mm-hmm.
And you can imagine 6 weeks in being an athlete in a dorm room. And I was like, wow, does he even have that many socks and underwear? Like, I started getting all practical. Not my problem to solve, but what these things are, what are the things that we can do to prepare while they're still under our same roof?
Mm-hmm.
I remember reading that you have 3 phases of the Birdy Launcher. So is this part of a phase in your Birdy Launcher?
Yes. So what I prefer to do is to start working with parents and especially mamas when the kids are still under the same roof to really be able to portion these things out. So you don't have these conversations about, hey, this is what I'm worried about. Like, are you going to be out partying all night? Or maybe you won't make any friends. Or are you going to eat? And what are you going to eat? And what about those freshman 15 pounds? Like, how are you going to exercise? Like, whatever those things are that you're worried about, you don't want to wait to have those conversations with your kid until the night before you're moving in and you're standing there with the boxes, right?
Right.
And then we have these adulting things again, the laundry. Can you cook at least a few things? How do you budget? How do you do these things? All of that we want to do while they're still in the same nest, ideally.
Yeah.
And for the mamas and the dads out there that haven't gotten there yet, and they're like, ooh, we're heading up to graduation, not fret. There's ways to get it in and do it. But that's part of those phases of really starting much, much earlier.
Yeah.
And what is so interesting to me when I work with clients or talk to parents about this is most people plan more for a trip to Europe.
Yeah.
Then they do this major life transition.
Yeah.
All right. You're going to go to Europe. You're going to book your flights. You're going to figure out your hotels. You're going to figure out where you want to eat. You're going to book this guided tour. You're going to check out the hikes or the museums or whatever
Right.
it is. And somehow for this, we don't make we don't put the same time and attention towards it that this transition really, really deserves, because you want it to be exciting and not just like, oh my God, or let's just focus on the right shower caddy. Yes, they will probably need a shower caddy, but they will need a whole lot more from you.
Well, what I'm hearing from you, though, I think is very optimistic, and that is parents and students or young people, as they're leaving home, there are a lot of skills and information that they can use to help navigate all of these big feelings. Because whether you are totally ready or not ready, there's a lot of tools at their disposal. And if they use them and read them and really practice, it's going to be okay. Like everything is going to be okay. And you are all going to be fine. They're going to be successful adults. And you are going to be okay in your house without them.
You are going to be okay. Yes. Thank you,
All
Lynn, for
gonna
that.
work
That is
out.
such an important point. And I think we lose that sometimes, right? We're in this complete overwhelm, and we're in the overwhelm of the practical between prom and
Yes.
graduation and last this and last that. And it's so easy to focus on all the lasts. And it's true, they're there, right? Your kid will never have a high school graduation again. Your kid will never have a high school prom again. Your kid
Right.
will never, and it is true. And it also means that there's lots of firsts. This is the first time they get to make their bed in the dorm room. This is the first time they're going to walk across, if they're going to college. Obviously, you can leave for lots of different reasons. So, however they're leaving, all of those things are first. So, we want to not, again, get stuck in the worry or in the grief. We want to take it to all of those other things. And yes, absolutely, most kids will be fine.
Yeah.
And I want to say, when I say fine, it doesn't mean it's going to be super smooth and easy, because we all know that's not life.
Not life. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Life
Not
be
life.
lifing.
No.
And the biggest, best gifts that we can give them is to figure out how to trust themselves, to be resilient, to reach out for help when they need it, much like we still need to learn to do, because moms don't prioritize themselves, right? We find ourselves at the bottom of the laundry basket. We're doing everything for everybody else. And then we're like, oh, I need some support. I don't know how to do this. I've never done this before. Or even like with Kathy, like, oh, I launched one. Yes. But you haven't launched this one.
Right.
Each kid is a completely different ball of wax. Some are really ready to go, and they might be ready on some level. And then they're like, whoa, do I bring my stuffed animal? How do I do these things? And how am I in community with others? I'm not ready. I haven't sharpened those tools yet or flexed those muscles yet. So we all need the help. We need the support. We need to do it together.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Well,
the Birdy Launcher concept of having that like team of people in your corner to really cheer you on and help you and lift you up. And, I find every mom or dad or friend or whatever has their own toolkit for things. And it's so great when you can talk to different people and kind of take some of their things that really do work and apply them to your own life. It just really eases the anxiety. I mean, I am a worrier by nature, so I just am like an anxious bird all the time. I feel like I'm constantly worrying, and when people give me little tips and tricks that I apply to my own life, it really does help a lot. So I love that you do that naturally with your process. So I
Yes.
hope people really can look into some of the tools that you have and seminars, and you work one-on-one with families too. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. I work usually one-on-one with the mamas because what we want is to strengthen the mamas to be able to have some of these conversations with their kid. And sometimes the kid is brought in and we just do it together. If there's,
Mhm.
depending on the relationship between parent and kid, there might be that a facilitated conversation is the right way to go. And usually it's about like, here, mama, here are the tools. You and I can role play. We can flex it. We can sit with your grief and you can bring all the Kleenexes that you want. And I'm welcoming all the
Yeah.
emotions. And let's talk about the guilt phase and then really decide and set out for yourself, like, what kind of parent do I want to be in this next phase of parenting?
Yeah.
And I think that is crucial because there is this loss of control, to be frank. Sitting here being recovering type A myself, I won't have close dibs on all the things that's going on, right? I won't be able to check grades. I don't know exactly where they are. I'm not doing any of these things. So, how am I going to manage my anxieties around that?
Mhm.
And I usually say parenting, regardless of age, is about 80% managing your own anxiety.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Hannah,
agree.
I wanted to ask you, Linda and we had a podcast last week talking about our oldest kids letting go because they're adulting now
Mm.
and they're making decisions. And
Mhm.
That you may not agree
right.
with, right? Like,
Well, like for
Mm.
right?
instance,
Like,
my son decided to go on a spontaneous road trip, but he did not tell us about it. And so I ended up worrying because he turned off his location. I couldn't see where he was. Not that I'm
Mhm.
always checking his location, but it was just weird behavior. And then I found out he went to go see our parents, which was totally fine. But I just thought it was interesting that he felt like we would be upset about it and not being, forthcoming in like what he was doing. And so,
Yes.
it's like those kind of adulting decisions, you know, did we handle it wrong, right? And Linda, her daughter, ended up getting a tattoo.
Yes. So that is so interesting, right? So we know that in an ideal world, to become a successful birdie launcher, you're going to have to shift your parenting. Like if you're trying to parent your kids the way that you parented them when they were 10 or 13, they're going to buck and revolt and they will have none of it. And what is interesting is when they leave your house, wherever they're going in the world, this is the first time that they actually have agency over their contribution to your relationship. Because they're not coming home for dinner, they're not coming home to sleep, they're not coming home. They can choose to turn off locations, not reply to your text, not pick up the phone.
Right.
And it's their call, and you have nothing, right? You have to pick up the phone. Yeah, sure, mom, whatever. I'm 3,000 miles away. Like, sure. Yeah, what are you going to come? Spank me? Like, no.
yeah.
So you don't have that level of influence or control. So this again is a good conversation to have, and easier done when you're still in the same nest is what kind of relationship do we want to co-create together when you are leaving? And as a mom, like, right, how do I keep you close when you're far away? Like, I want to know, and I might have to let go, to your point, Kathy, like, of a lot of things. Just because I want it doesn't mean I'm going to get it. And so in that shift, right? So with my oldest, we had this conversation where I started having these conversations with him fall of senior year in high school. And I said, hey, kiddo, I will always be your mama. So it's not like we're going to become peers. There will always be a hierarchy shift, a difference in that I'll always be your mom. And as an emerging adult, as you're going to live far away, you're going to make your decisions and live your life, which again is the point, right? The point of this parenting thing is that we have raised future adults to the extent that they actually can leave. So just remember that is the goal. We don't want them necessarily 6-year-old boys, in the basement with the train tracks, right? So we want them to leave. And so then how do we in that shift of parenting? So when we started having the conversation, my kiddo and I was like, it's going to shift. It's going to change. And what is so cool is that we can co-create this, you and I together. Mm-hmm. And he just looks at me. He's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Basically, I mean, he didn't verbalize this, but basically for 18 years, you called all the shots more or less in our relationship. And now all of a sudden I have agency. What? Yes. So we had the conversation, not once, not twice, but a few different times. Yes. And as we got closer, I said, well, let's give me a new title and a new job description.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going from hands-on mom. I pretty much know not everything, but a whole lot. I can check your grades. I know you have practice. I know where you at, all of that, to what? So we co-created. So my title now is Mama Mentor.
Okay. That's good.
I like it.
Yeah.
And with Mama Mentor, what are those shifts? Where do I have influence? Where am I when does he come to me to ask for my input or my advice? And what are those places? And then, of course, again, recovering type A, very used to running the house. I overstep at times. And I do things and I behave like I'm parenting, a 15-year-old or something. And then he looks at me and he's like, I don't think that's part of your job description.
Right. And you accept that.
That is the easiest
and you
redirect.
Right.
Right. There's no ego. There's no defensiveness. Thank you for the reminder. Yes. Let me try again.
Yeah. I like that. Stay in your lane.
Yeah.
I like that.
So as far as evolving your parenting and shifting it, I was working with one client and when we sat and really dug into what kind of parent do you want to be? What is the flavor and the texture that you want to have with your kids? And she said, I want to be their lighthouse.
Oh.
Oh, I love that.
I want them to know that I'm always here. The light is always on. They can always find me and I'm steady. And, they will be out there on the seas. They will go places and it might be rough seas. It might be smooth sailing. And I will just be here as their lighthouse.
I love that. I'm going to steal that.
Everybody can have a lighthouse.
We talk about the kids and the exciting for them getting ready to go, but what can be exciting about the moms, this new phase in their life of them having their birdies away? Like what's in it for them?
Yes, I love it. That's where we're heading, right? We have relief, we have the relief, and then we go to this joy.
Yes.
So I don't know about you, but I became a mom in my 30s. And I'm launching my second one now. And so that's been about 20 years of hands-on parenting. And then at least my people, we're from hardy Swedish stock, they live forever. So I'm looking easily at another 4 decades of life, which then puts the mommy years in perspective, right? That's 20 versus 30 plus 40. So what is now my identity? What do I want to be? How do I want to show up? How do I want to contribute when I no longer have that full mental load, hands-on parenting that is both amazing and draining and exhausting, and
Yeah.
growth opportunities abound. And now I get to like lift my gaze and look out. Okay, do I want to shift careers? Do I want to take on a different role? Do I want to contribute in my community? Do I want to try something different in my hobbies? I used to dance in my 20s. I used to love to dance. Is that still what I want to do today? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. But I get to co create with myself and with my peers. And if I'm partnered, a new version of my identity to really sit and it's like, this is my book of life, right? We're writing these chapters together for ourselves. So let's make those really yummy and juicy and full of life and richness. So your life is not empty.
Right. Love
Right?
it.
Because you can sit and shivel in that empty little nest if you want, or you can refeather you and become and take over and do your life the way you want to do it. And it's super, super exciting. And it's interesting when I work with moms, like for some of them, they've been so removed from some of those parts of themselves that they don't even know how to start or what do you mean what do I want to do, like I don't know, sleep because I'm haven't slept proper in 20 years, like I don't even know who am I anymore, what's my identity when we remove hands-on parenting, like I don't know. So some of these things we sit and just peel back layers and layers, and it's a process that takes quite a while usually. And then you get to go out and try things because this is what we also as moms we get to model this behavior for our kids, right? We tell them there's a big world out there for them. Well, guess what, mama, that's right out there for you too.
Yeah. I like that.
Love it.
Refeather
too.
you. I love it.
I hope our listeners can hear that you have such a depth of experience and knowledge and process. Tell our listeners how they can find you.
My website is birdylauncher.com. So
Okay.
birdie with a Y. And then I also have a free guide about exactly this thing that we've been talking about. How do you evolve your parenting? So the free guide can be found at birdylauncher.com/free offer.
Okay.
And then, of course, you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, all Birdy Launcher with a Y. And that's how you find me. And I would love to help and guide more mamas because we do need the support and we don't have to make the mistakes that is so common because we don't tend to this phase with the same sincerity and attention that it really deserves.
Amazing. Well, we will put
great
all of that
advice.
information in our show notes so people can find you. It has been incredible to hear all of the tips and tricks that you have shared with all of our fishes. And we so appreciate you, Hanna. Thank you.
Yes. Well, whether you're little fishes or birds about to launch, all animals and all humans come together. And that's what it's about. Thank you
Thanks,
so much
Hanna.
for having me.
One of the things that I really appreciated, and I wonder, Kathy, if you did too, especially since you told her that you're feeling sad about your kid leaving for college, is to live in those feelings, that's totally fine. And the trick is to just not get stuck, right? So I thought she had some really good, thoughts and ideas on that.
Yeah.
And that we all need our village, which is what we talk about, that we need our village and we need our friends.
We're here.
We need our people.
We're here for all of you.
All right. So speaking of moms, it's Mom's Day this weekend.
Yep.
That's right.
How is everybody going to celebrate Mother's Day?
I don't know, Linda. Like whenever we talk about Mother's Day, I remember you being like last year, and I was surprised to hear this, that you don't really love Mother's Day.
I feel like it's a little bit of stress, and everybody always asks me like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And it's like one more decision I have to make. This year in particular, however, I did say to my husband, who has been asking me what I want to do, I'm like, I want to do very little because we have Jack's big, huge, like we've got like over 200 people coming to this party the night before. So I feel like I'm going to be tired. Rich said he would try to make Eggs Benny. My oldest is going to be home from tech. So, we're going to try, I think they're going to try and make Eggs Benny, which is something I love. And then just as a backup, I would like a cinnamon roll from like the Puffy Muffin, which is like this little bakery by our house, and black coffee. And I just want to lay around. Like if the weather's great, I'll be at the pool. If not, I'm just going to sit and read a book or whatever. I want to do very little on Mother's Day, and we're not hosting anything, so that's dreamy. What are you guys doing?
Johanna, my youngest, really still loves and cares about Mother's Day, which I so appreciate. And so she loves to make breakfast for me. So I did hear that she and Tim
Princess
and Riley
toast
are going to Princess Toast. She has a pretty good palate, and she knows that I also like Eggs Benedict. So I think that she's roping Tim into trying to make Eggs Benedict. And luckily for me, Tim can actually cook.
Yeah, he's a good cook.
It's all going to be fine. But Linda, I feel like you. I feel like life has been busy and stressful, and I just don't really want to have a plan. I just kind of want to just relax and just kind of enjoy the day and feel like for once we don't have to run all over the place and just take a minute.
Yeah.
Kathy, what about you?
I actually asked Peter about the Eggs Benedict as well, because I think we got a recipe from Martha Stewart. That's easy, Eggs Benedict.
It is.
So
easy.
he's
I've
never
done this recipe.
We'll post that in the show notes, but he's never made it before. But he said that he would do it, so I said, "All right."
I almost feel like I want video evidence of Rich and Peter making this Eggs Benedict because I've never ever seen them in the kitchen. So I think this would be super fun to see them make this for you all.
Sarah will help Rich. I mean, I will say my husband makes a mean scrambled egg, but the poached egg, that's
the poached egg could be tricky, but
yeah.
I think it's great they're willing. So it's going to start my day
Yeah,
that
it's
way.
amazing.
And I don't care if it doesn't turn out, really.
I don't either. It's fine.
I think that's so sweet. But you know what else we're gonna do is we love a good cocktail with our brunch. And so we found a raspberry sunrise mimosa, which looks delicious, and we'll post that in the show notes too. So if your Eggs Benedict doesn't turn out, at least you can have a yummy drink.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah. I don't have to make it, and bonus, I don't have to clean it up. So
Yeah,
whatever
I feel the
happens,
same.
it's a win.
Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I said. I don't want to be in charge of cooking.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if our listeners remember, but we love a good jingle for any holiday. And so for Mother's Day, we've come up with a jingle that we thought we would share with all the moms out there. And Kathy is going to read it to you.
Happy Mother's Day to the moms with babies and those with teens. The nest is quiet or bursting at the seams. Playing and listening, laughing all day. We're singing your love in a big bouquet. Bonus moms, brunch queens, cooks with flair, making life brighter with all that you care. Wherever you are, in joy or strife, we celebrate you, the heart of our life. So happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers. Let's do a little
and
cheers
to our mom.
Our mom, Renee, the best mom out there. She taught us everything we know. We love and appreciate you, Renee. You're
Yes,
the
Mom.
best.
Love you lots.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's
Day. We want to thank you for listening to our podcast and letting us sisters jump into your day. Please make sure to follow, rate, and review us. A special thank you to Hanna Bankier for being our guest today. Her email will be in our show notes, as well as she has a free guide with some good information about the Birdy Launcher. So have a wonderful Mother's Day weekend. Sisters out.